It really seems like law enforcement officers are constantly being portrayed in a negative light, especially over these last few years. And it's just something that's always personally bothered me. Public service is very important part of my life, and it's something that I think we need to value in all of our communities. It seems like there's been a loss of that respect for the sacrifices that police officers make every day just doing their job. So about 3 years ago or so, I was approached by a group of local leaders, a couple current and former law enforcement officers, some activists. We decided that we should try to pull our resources and put our individual knowledge to work and our experiences and try to make a difference any way that we can. So I took the lead as an executive director of the organization, and I try to use that position and my experiences to try to provide day-to-day leadership and try to kind of chart a course for our success. So National Police Support Fund is really a pretty unique organization. We're in a unique position to be able to provide a political voice to police officers and their supporters at state, local, and even the national level. And since we're a political organization, we're able to build relationships with partners all around the country in order to gain insights on issues our officers face every day, issues ranging from lack of support from elected officials, weak, lenient judges, or even just the basic concern of officers losing benefits or not having the resources that they need to pay for essential equipment. And one of the trends we're seeing across the country is a dearth of budget money that's been earmarked for hiring and training new officers. And that leads to myriad effects. I mean, not the least of which are scarcity of officers that are on the force being overworked, and just a general attitude that these police officers aren't necessarily valued or respected for that difficult job that they do it every day. And that's actually pretty simple, and it ties into what we just talked about, the uniqueness of National Police Support Fund. We're able to directly affect the political process on behalf of officers, supporters, and other organizations who may not have the access or the expertise or the ability to make their voices heard. So what we do is we try to bring the fight directly to elected officials on behalf of their constituents and ensure that we're doing what's right, ethical, and necessary to support officers. So obviously, we try to make as significant an impact as possible towards meeting our mission statement, right? In the last couple of years, we've impacted state and local elections specifically. We've fought for referendums for victims' rights. We help support great leaders get elected to this office, for example. And we've built and maintained some really good relationships with other organizations across the country, specifically the Fraternal Order Police and the National Troopers Coalition. And we've attended great events like National Police Week, for example, in order to show our solidarity and kind of stand with our officers. Just being able to focus our efforts and build these partnerships has really been instrumental in our success the past couple of years. We began with a great mission, a great vision, and by working with our partners and attending some of these events, and like I said, building these relationships with the Fraternal Order Police and National Troopers Coalition, we're really able to bounce ideas off our supporters and current and former officers themselves. And this allows us to hone our message, our goals, really ensure that we're putting our resources to the best use and make sure that we're working towards the same political goals that officers and their supporters want us to work towards. And it's to keep building on the foundations that we've laid so far. We need to keep in contact with and continue to build these relationships with the Fraternal Order Police, the National Troopers Coalition, current former officers, even current elected officials who are doing a great job. And we need to stay ahead of the curve on some of these legislative issues, some of these referenda that are coming to a vote, and ensure that we stand up for what the law enforcement officers' needs are. And those needs, I mean, they change, but they stay the same. They're always going to need an increase in budget for equipment and hiring. And we just need to make sure that as their needs evolve, we stay ahead of the curve and help them meet their goals. My personal goal for the next few years is to continue to both broaden and deepen the personal relationships I've made in the industry, right? And that means I'm going to continue to bring together the best, brightest, most connected individuals to help advise National Police Support Fund and help kind of guide our mission and continue to push us forward. In the short term, the next 12 to 18 months or so, we've got a couple of really great projects that are in the works right now. Specifically, we're doing some research that's focusing on historic and future legislation that's going to help, I hope, lawmakers understand kind of the details and the minutia of how to make bills successful and how to shine a light on what kind of legislation has the biggest impact on law enforcement, not only nationally, but state and locally as well. Politics is a tough business, and there's not any easy way around that. There's always going to be opposition, those who are just going to be diametrically opposed to whatever you stand for and whatever you're trying to accomplish. I'm not trying to push partisan politics. In my opinion, that's not the area of law enforcement officers, right? We need to be a nonpartisan kind of organization. And I'm focusing on legislation and elections that are going to enable law enforcement officers to do their jobs on the ground each and every day, keep them safe, ensure they receive fair pay and benefits for the sacrifices they've made. Unfortunately, sometimes we also have to stand up to media who loves to publish headlines about police violence, impropriety, mistakes. You know what I mean? We see them every day on the news. It's easy to publish negativity because it gets clicks and it gets reads, right? Law enforcement is a difficult, challenging job. You're out in the community every day upholding our laws. Split-second decisions, they're necessary. It's part of the job. Proper training, equipment, staffing comes into play when it comes to that, right? It's difficult to know how to make that split-second decision if you're understaffed, overworked, and maybe haven't received the best training because of budgetary constraints. It's easy to see an officer make a mistake, maybe even make a bad decision, and jump on the entire profession as being seen in a negative light. Sure, there are bad actors in every profession. You know that, I know that. And these kind of individuals, there's not a place for them in the law enforcement community. But it's up to the law enforcement community itself to deal with those people properly through the correct channels and not necessarily through the court of public opinion or through the lens of the media, right? The media and the public, a lot of times they get skewed views of reality, and we can't let that detract from the realities of policing and the truth that the vast, vast majority of those who make the sacrifice, serve the communities, they're doing it for the right reasons. We want to uphold the law, and we want to be 100% that real justice is served.